Business mentor here, coming from the Big Island of Hawaii. How's everyone doing today? So for my Fame and Fortune and Impacting Millions show, I will be sharing another big topic that I actually want to bring into illuminating the real truth in terms of how to really have it all, and the key core message of what you actually want to align to, because that core message is the most important thing, and you won't be able to actually like uncover it until you finally allow yourself to own into your story, into your message, into really what your core essence is all about. So if you just jumped on in, say hello, and if you're just listening into the replay at any time, at the bottom you can please, of course, comment, and if you see my video, and I can answer your questions below in the comment at any time, even though that you're just watching the video now. All right, so what I actually want to talk about actually goes very, very deep into my story. And so the topic we're going to talk about is the unfiltered truth of why source connection is the key to really have it all, and then the 3 steps to take back your self-love back into an aligned path. So normally when we go into our purposeful work, we can get very much caught up in everything that we're doing daily, everything that we're sharing into our messaging, and it does feels kind of really good, because when you actually receive the money back, you're like, wow, I guess I'm in a aligned path. But I have to tell you that even though you make good money, you have like a lot of money, doesn't mean that you are doing your purpose. It actually is just the transformation or the value of the outcome that your clients are giving you in exchange for that transformation that they actually wanted to get. But like I said, it doesn't really mean that because you made all that money, you become very known in your industry, you be of service, doesn't always mean that you're living totally in an aligned path. And I think like people misunderstand that, that they think just because I do my purpose means that I'm actually on an aligned path. What I'm actually talking about is when you're actually really deeply connected to source, that is when you actually start living and being aligned and becoming more aligned in your path. So what is source energy? It literally means that the energy that originally where we came from, right? The origin of our being, that is source. So when we think of God, right, or we think of that angels or that like other outside force, right, that actually may be helping us or anything like that, that doesn't mean that that is source. Source just really means back to our star system, back to the core of where everything exists, comes from source. So that's the definition of actually connection to source. You actually need to, when you're actually connected to source, then you become a positive soul. When you choose not to be connected to source in some version, whether it's conscious or unconscious, then we become a negative type of soul. And the only difference between a negative type of soul and a positive type of soul is just that a positive soul, in some shape or form, just a little bit, is connected directly to source. If the person or the soul is not connected to source, then what it does is it goes out and tries to take energy from every living being. And that's where they get their energy. They're just sucking up the energy from others rather than really reconnecting with source itself and receiving unlimited energy. So a lot of disease, a lot of problems with the body, all of those kind of symptoms actually come from the fact that we have disconnected from source somehow. We can also disconnect from source actually mentally too, in our mental and emotional body. And when we're actually are disconnected from source, this is why we have a lot of thoughts and negative emotions. It's because the energy that's surrounding you emotionally and mentally is made up of other kinds of energies. And when you have too much of those negative thoughts, that means that you're mentally have disconnected from source. So we can disconnect from source. And so when we're actually disconnected from source, everything in our body, mind, and spirit can somaticize problems. So this is why we can have relationship issues, like crazy relationship issues that are super karmic. We can have like cord attachments like that. We can have our physical body have all these like autoimmune diseases and just like unexplainable mental diseases. That includes mental diseases too. And spiritually, we can also feel this disconnection to our soul. So the only way to really, really live your purpose is you need to reconnect directly to source. I hope that makes sense, right? I know this is like super simple, but I'm just trying to break it down so you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about connection, the source connection I'm talking about. Okay. So I broke it down. There's that 3 versions, right? Our body, mind, and spirit, and how we actually connect to source. Depending on our level of consciousness, we can connect with the body, we can connect with the mind, we can connect with the spirit to source. Okay. I'm not going to go into the whole spirit part too much, because just know that when you're disconnected from your soul, then your spiritual connection to your soul inside and your heart being heart-centered, you can lose yourself completely. Even though everything around you may have it all, then it will manifest in either your body, mind, or spirit in various ways. Hi Dee, hi Lillian. Okay, so that's the main thing I want to talk about. What the heck is source connection? Okay, so why you want to have it all? One of the main reasons I think like people don't really think about, I mean, like we can say that, yeah, I want to have it all. I want to have unlimited access to abundance. I want to have good relationships. I want to have like whatever it is that you want to have, right? The desire. Normally that desire is actually like, our heart feels on fire. That feeling of being on fire actually comes from connection to source. When you are actually on fire, you feel actually in your heart, in the core essence of your being, is lit up. And when you're lit up, that's when you feel alive. And that's also when you can magnetize anything to you. You can absolutely attract and manifest whatever the heck you want in seconds. So when we're actually connected to source, naturally that lit up feeling in our heart just explodes, and then it becomes very like you take action, right? You just take action and it feels super good, and you feel this thrill, right? That, oh, I'm doing my purpose. I'm like creating, I'm constantly creating. But actually, that thrill, it means that you're alive, but it doesn't mean that you're taking a aligned path, okay? There is actually a difference, and I always talk about this, about whether you're aligned or not. When you're actually in alignment, you will see that everything around you in your existence is actually like the outcome of what your soul is designed to be here to do right now. And you're actually just in the now. You're like literally living in the now, moment by moment, and you can see that everything in your relationships, in your health, in your physique in general just feels so good. Like everything in the aspects of all your life areas will be lit up, and it will be the up-leveled version of what you want to become, right? So you actually want to constantly up-level your new upper limit, the new version of who you are, because as soon as we don't have that bigger dream, everything just like falls down, not inspired, not really feeling totally lit up and in that essence, right, of that deep connection to source. Okay. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I had this actually awakening to, I think it was like yesterday, but like it really like dawned on me after I did some posting and I did some live stream and stuff. I realized that the core reason why people do what they do has everything to do with connection. And actually why people want to connect is because they want to have a source that they want to actually have source connection. And every soul has its own like source, right? It's lit up inside. And when we connect soul to soul, it actually like connects us deeply back to source too. So that heart connection that you feel when you meet somebody, that's just like at soul level you get each other, right? That source connection you're receiving actually directly from source. So actually the more you connect to source immediately yourself, the better. But also you can experience that with each other. Do you see what I mean? So there's two ways that you can actually get connected to source. Is through your gifts, which is self-expressing your gifts daily, right? You're doing your purpose, sharing your message, being completely transparent, being authentically you, right? Obviously, that's like your version of how you can deliver the source, right? Deliver source energy is through your voice, through your speaking, through whatever like stuff you're creating, whether you're writing a book, whether you're just talking to a friend, like every moment you are actually connected to source as long as you yourself connect. But we think that just because I do my purpose, that means that everything means I'm connected to source. But that's not the meaning. Okay. It's actually a choice. We can either choose to connect from source energy and also source energy with each other. And I think actually the highest form of source energy is, of course, when you have it all. When you see your entire experience looks like your connection to source. You are connected to source, there's no ego, and you are just self-expressing your gifts. You're just self-expressing whatever comes through you, whatever you feel is there moment by moment. And then that means that you feel very alive by actually looking at your life experience. So if there's something wrong in any part of your life, that means that there's something that you have disconnected from source somehow. So you actually have to actively up-level that part, or sometimes you have to let go of whatever that is, right? Like if it's a relationship that's not good for you, obviously you have to let go of the relationship. If it's something that is your career that just doesn't feel right, then you have to let go of the career, right? If there's something in your life that doesn't feel in alignment, there's a reason. There's a reason that part of your deep connection to source gets tainted because of those different things that keep you pull your energy away from you being authentically who you are, right? And that's a choice. It's a huge choice to make a decision on the things that we want to exclude in our life and the things that we do want to include in our life. So actually, our whole journey is about that source connection, but also the whole journey of including and excluding things. It's like a flow, an influx of flow. Like constantly, we have to let go, we have to receive, we have to let go, we have to receive, until we actually find that balance point of that connection to source. Okay, I know I'm going really deep in this subject, but I want to explain it in that term just so that you understand the depth of what I'm talking about. Okay, so when we so how do you actually connect, right? Like how can you have that loving connection, and why would you need that anyway in order to have it all, right? There's actually 3 main steps that I found that you can be able to take out of self-love in order for you to get back into your aligned path. Okay. Normally when people come to me, there's something missing. They don't know what the heck it is. And they want something to change, but they don't know for sure which part needs to get changed. They can be overwhelmed in a chaotic situation. Just the clarity isn't there. And usually the main reason is because they're not connected to source, and they got to figure out which part of it stops them from that connection, right? Okay, so I think I have to talk a bit about the depth of what I'm talking about for the story part. So when I joined that spiritual group that, I was a psychic monk, and everything in my life lined up for myself to be doing that purpose. I mean, like, everything showed me that I should be doing that. And that's why at the moment I felt like that's like the path. That was actually a choice, but at the same time, it felt like that was an aligned path. And that's what it feels like when you're going through your life struggles and your experiences. There is a reason why you go on that path, and then there's a reason why you go to another path, and you go to another path, and you go to another path, right? But at the moment, I went into it because I wanted to get out of my first 21 years of my life that was just hell from my family. I had a lot of trauma growing up with my father and my family, and I just really felt like the black sheep of my family. And I left when I was 16 and just wanted to just, be free from all that drama. So I literally just chose that's not my path anymore. So when I turned 21, that's when I found another path, which was joining that spiritual group, which was becoming a monk, which was like living a spiritual type of life. And I really devoted myself to the vision, the bigger vision and cause, which was all about saving the world, which was all about, being of service. Because I did wanted to impact millions. I didn't really care of like the form, but I just wanted an outlet that allowed me to show me a direction of my purpose. So that path led me to, of course, be driven, purpose driven, to flow into being of service, which I did. I helped probably millions of people in that 10-year experience, and that was still actually kind of an unaligned path, but it was an aligned path because it allowed me to learn the importance of source energy. Actually, when I look back at it, that whole experience taught me that you should never be connected to any kind of being, whether they say they're God or whatever it is. Any kind of outside authority is not source. And when we depend on something outside, whether it's our husband, whether it's our kids, whether it's like whatever, it's that spiritual teacher, is that politician, is like whatever the outside authority that makes us feel inspired that like we, can create a bigger vision or something like that, right? That doesn't mean that is authentic, right? So I had to go on that unauthentic path in order for me to realize my core message, what my core principles are, what authenticity means to me, and illuminating the truth of what actually life is about. So when I look back at all of that, I'm like, wow, I was able to live in all of that in record time, because I could have been doing that for like, I don't know, like most of my life, like another 30 years until I was 50. And then finally I said like, oh, it's enough. I don't want to be doing that path anymore. And then try another path. But I was very lucky that I was able to recognize that wasn't the aligned path. And I was very lucky that my husband showed up. I never forget those moments, because that kind of choice was so important for the reason why I share what I do today. And I think your message, your core message, you really, really have to find what that is. When you know what your core message is, your core, like a main vision, and the four major like core principles about what you stand for, that's going to allow you to attract your tribe. Because every time when you talk about that story, every time you talk about that essence of what you are, that moves them to take action, to buy stuff from you also. So I was watching also this TEDx talk, and he was talking about, like how leaders actually, they think from the inside out, not the outside in. And if you look at the reasons why leaders are good leaders, it's because they go by their why. They don't think about the what and the how, which normally that's what normal people think, is they go from the outside in. Okay, so like, what is it that I'm selling? How do I do that thing? What does that solve for you? And then this is why you should buy it. But actually, we should do the other way around. If you're really a true, authentic leader, you want to do your why you do what you do, what's the core vision about what you're all about, right? And then tie that into the how and the what, right? Why should I buy from that person, right? About what is their core value and what is their message. And people really resonate with your message. They resonate with your why. So like everything that I talk about in my life and business, I talk about the same kind of core principles. And one of the major core vision for me is connection to source, right? Source connection, feeling the source connection. The reason why we're here is to connect with source and express our divine gifts, share and self-express our gifts in this human body, in the physical body itself. If we were another planet where we're like fifth dimensional, like, and invisible, this would be a different story. But because we are here in the body, we have all the limitations of the physical body, and we have to live in that realm, our 3D part of our body, right? So when you connect with your why, that will bring out the what is it about, right? So why do I do my coaching services and everything like that? Is mainly because I want you to become soul aligned, right? I want you to align to what you are at soul level. And that is the core, like, most important thing that I always talk about. Is like, I want you to be soul aligned. I want your business to be soul aligned to you, specifically you. You're running your business. You're the one creating what you are doing, right? And then I tell you the what, right? What it is that I'm going to do for you. Well, you can join my group program. You can join, I don't know, like my intensive or my VIP day or whatever like that. I never really operated. I didn't really understand this until I was watching that TEDx video, and I was like, whoa, okay, that makes total sense. I never ever thought about the other way around, which is what normal people think, is like going from the outside in, right? The what and the how and then the why. I always think from like why I want to do this to what it is and how I do it. Dee says, yep, definitely. Does core message come from your own life story? Yes, definitely. Hi, Andrea. Align to soul divine gifts. Definitely you want to align to your soul divine gifts. That's like the core. It's like the major energy of what your message actually has a lot to, what it has to do is a lot with your story, but also you really got to look at what is that key, like, vision, the core vision. Like, if you could say it in one sentence, that is your core message. Okay. So how I do this, I can show you what I do. You can mind map this. Okay, so you see like that. This is my little thing here. So here, my core vision is reconnection to source. And then I have 4 other bubbles here, right? Those 4 major bubbles are my 4 like core principles, right? Like the major things that I'm all about. So mine is, clearing soul level blocks to success. So this is why you do the Akashic records. And as a healer, that specific thing is how I make money. Because obviously it's like, you wouldn't want to go to necessary power soul to heal your stuff. You actually want to go to a healer soul that will help you to heal those aspects and connect you back into divine love. And that's why I make money off of that, right? That's one of my major core principle. And then the second thing for me is true authenticity, right? Why I do what I do, everything is all about authenticity. And if I look at my workers, everything of my business is authenticity. So that's why I always talk about being authentic. And I can say it over and over and over again. It sounds like a broken record, but that is exactly one of the major principles of like why I do what I do, is because I'm helping people go into their true authenticity, which has a lot to do with connection to source. It's connection, deep connection, soul connection with other people, and connection to the soul itself, right? Then the third one is living your soul's design, right? So living in alignment totally the way your soul is designed to do things, right? So this is why I give you your blueprints, your divine soul blueprints, because those blueprints allows you like to really think in that perspective. And whenever you show up that way, everything you want will actually manifest much more faster and easier, because obviously it's your soul's design, right? Right. And then the fourth one is about mindset and having your spiritual foundation. So to me, your spiritual foundation is being able to live in this physical body, right? Take care of your mind, body, and your spirit. Developing some kind of practice that allows you to be connected to your soul and to yourself, like a daily type of practice, right? And a daily type of thing will allow you to feel that soul connection, which is in your blueprints. And like contemplation is very important. So, I tell my clients to always contemplate about what your blueprints really means to you. And when you feel really stuck, go back to your blueprints. Dive deep into it even more. What does that actually mean? And it's actually, you can only discover it through your experiences, right? Like how you relate to your clients, due to your lifestyle. And it's a constantly like launching your amazing stuff, right? Like being amazing, making good money at what you do, but then also coming back into yourself and then having the depth of that deep connection in your own truth. Hi, Charm. So you see what I mean? So I really want you to do that. Take the time to mind map this. What is the main core vision, and what are the four major core principles of what you are about? I think if you can take that time to do that, you'll get really clear about why you do what you do. Your why is so important. Okay. So everybody got that, right? Any questions about that? Did everything make sense so far? How to get back into an aligned path through self-love. And the only way to do that is you really should never forget what your core message is about. So when you really feel really like something missing and you feel really unaligned, you want to go back to what your core message is and the four major core principles. I'm pretty sure you probably have more core principles, right? But like everything about, like if you, so after you've got that four bubbles, right, you want to make sure you've got like what do you call it? Like bullet point what each of them are, right? Under that major core principle. And then you can actually put another, this is a very small book, but if you have like a big piece of paper, or if you did it on top of your computer, you want to do that is you actually want to make these into bubbles, right? And then everything all branches out, branching out, branching out. And this is where all your content comes from. Your content of what you speak about, what you share about, has to come from the core vision and so yeah, that's why you need to kind of sit down and write this down, because this is deep stuff. And it's something that you kind of uncover by doing it, by actually looking at your life story, looking at all the things that that is important to you, like looking at those like 3 defined moments that made who you are right now. That's where your why comes from. Charm says, hi, I missed a lot. I have to watch the replay. Oh, definitely you gotta watch the replay. This is really deep stuff. You missed the important part, which is that reconnection to source. And then now I'm talking about like the 3 steps to get back into your aligned path, but doing it purely out of self-love. So remember, okay, so I spent that 10 years being that psychic monk and being that psychic guru and teaching, lots of people. But the reason that it wasn't totally soul aligned was because obviously it was not authentic, right? Like fully authentically, I could be myself. And every time when I tried to like go beyond like my next highest level, I always ended up hitting, like, like the flea in the cup. I always ended up hitting my head at the top. And always the head at the top was like whatever my spiritual teacher wanted, or whatever the people wanted me to do, or like whatever it was. Like it was always, there was something where I couldn't go way beyond what I'm actually capable of. And that's how you know it's not an aligned path, especially if you feel like you're going in a direction, but you feel very empty about it. The reason is because you need to come back into your self-love and figure out, okay, again, what is my core message? What is my four major principles? And then that will allow you to kind of like take a different path, right? And we actually go through these kind of things like probably like every 9 years, different stages of our life. We go to one path and then another path and another path, and it's this constant going on different paths. And the reason is just because our soul wants to experience itself over and over and over again, all in different versions of you. These is so the 3 steps that feel aligned or are aligned to you. Yeah. So you want to go into first, what is your core message, right? The 4 major core principles. And then the next step is actually you want to totally drop everything in order to get back into your authentic self. So that's what exactly happened to me. I literally had to drop my title, my name. I had a spiritual name that was like everybody called me by another name, that I actually worked really hard to get it. I don't know if you guys know about Sedona, but I was in Sedona and I actually went up to the top of Bell Rock every day for 14 months to receive my spiritual name. And also I did 103 vows every day in devotion to my soul. I did that out of self-love, actually. Nobody told me I needed to do that, but I really wanted to own my new name. So I'm a really good example of devotion, sincerity, authenticity, because I really felt I had it all, except for I didn't have the opportunity to have a good family, which is what one of my core visions is, actually having my own ability to have support and family of all the people that I love, right? I truly love. And, having that day-to-day connection. And for me, that was having a real family. That wasn't just only having a spiritual family, but it was really about having that deep connection with the people who means a lot to me, right? And I'm sure for all of you, your family means a lot to you. It's never going to change. But the expression of how you connect with them will. But as long as you are doing it out of self-love, that's what really matters, right? So you really actually, at the moment, when things are just really not making sense, there's like it really feels like an unaligned path, you have to literally drop everything. Maybe exclude things in your life, like let go of like the things that you thought were important. Like literally, I thought what was important that I needed to sacrifice myself, because I made these 6 vows, right? Vows of chastity, vows of obedience, vows of like all the different vows that I told you before. Like those type of stuff, I had to like suffer. I had to like, sacrifice myself all the time, sacrifice my money, being famous or whatever it is. Like I had to like literally sacrifice everything. That's kind of like how vows work, really, right? And we actually experience that all the time with all the people that we're around. Is we have these kind of like vows that comes deeply from our family line, that comes from choices that we made and all of that. And that's why it's so important to remove your soul level blocks as soon as you can. And that's why I have my 4 different levels of clearing your soul, because it's so important to clear like all of them. If you go to just one psychic or some healer or something, they normally just like clear one tiny part of it. And how I go in there, I literally go and like clear the whole thing, like one woof at a time. And I do it in 3 months. I do it in record time because I want you to just be your soul's expression. Ultimately be your own self and your authentic self. And the only way to do that is you don't want to have deep soul level blocks in the background. And that's why everything can somatize in a very, like in the wrong direction, right? Okay, so that's the second thing, right? Then the third thing is you want to go into the illumination of your truth. This is the hard phase. You actually need to find out what is the truth behind the truth. What is the truth behind the truth? And for me, that whole experience of what I had gone through, this is why I talk about this a lot, which is make your life experience look like your purposeful work, right? Not the purpose driving you, right? Not the reason that you're doing what you're doing is because you got to do your purpose. Normally when we start, we think like, oh, we have to do our purpose, and so that's why I'm driven to do what I do. But actually, it's you should be driven because you want your actual life, real life experience look like your purpose, and you're doing it on purpose, and you feel like you're alive and here in the now. Like you really feel like everything that you're doing is you just feel lit up, alive, connected to source. And everything around you looks like the expression of having it all, right? Having it all and being in the now completely 100% yourself. So you see like how I tied it all in, right? Those are all of my major stuff that allow me to get back into my aligned path. I had to go back into what the heck is my core message, let go of everything. Literally let go of everything I ever had or even I thought about myself. I had to let that go. And the third thing is I had to illuminate the truth behind the truth. Like really what was the real truth as to why that all happened and why I do what I do. And when you really figure that out, that's going to make it so clear to your audience and it's going to really touch them. Because our goal is not to just sell stuff, right? Or just to like look like we have it all on the outside. Our goal is to have that deep reconnection to source, but reconnection to with other people and reconnection to, our soul deep inside, right? Yeah, so that's the 3 major steps, okay? Did that make sense? So if you're feeling like, okay, so I know that I'm kind of going in an aligned path, but I'm not sure. The only way for sure to know is look back at your story, look back again with what was those defining moments, what did that mean to you, why you're doing what you're doing, what led you up to do what you're doing right now, and then the most important part is figuring out what the heck is the truth under the truth of your experiences, and that is your why. It's so powerful when you go through this process. Oh, this is why I wanted to share it because I got this really big awakening about it. And for me, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because for me right now it's about deep connection. So now that I feel very much like deep connected to my soul and I feel in my soul's design, my next level obviously is going to be soul connection with other people. So this is why I'm, trying to get media opportunities, spreading my story and my message, getting on podcasts, getting on magazines or like whatever. Like I even want to get my own TV show, and get on other people's TV shows and make my own retreat center and like all of these kind of things because it is my divine self-expression and I want my whole life experience to look like my core message, which is about deep connection to source, right? This is, okay, that's cool. Yeah. So this stuff is so important, especially for spiritual entrepreneurs or people who really are actually really aware consciously. this part is usually your next up leveling. Like if you feel super stuck, your messaging to the way you're speaking to your audience could be totally wrong, like totally off. And that's what I found after working really hard with my audience. I found that I don't like that kind of audience. I like a different kind of audience. So I had to like turn everything all 360 around again in order for me to, get back into what my core message is about. And what I did was I looked back into my whole life story, like everything what's important to me. I dig down deep. I spent a lot of time in my meditation, like just to figure out what the heck that was and how was I going to touch those specific people that need my help. So that's how I came up with Fame and Fortune and Impacting Millions, was because I was like, wow, to me, that's the expression of having it all, right? That those three main words, those are my message words. He says, oh yes, I got told in my astrology reading the planets want me to get me right and then take it to the world. So glad you did relook at it. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you just kind of need to get reminded of what that means to you, right? Getting that astrology reading probably gave you a lot of clarity, gave you a lot of like going back within. So when you're just starting, it's actually really good just to take action. Just take action. Just go for it. Go 100%. Do think about what it's like to get in alignment, right? And create money and all means and like, whatever you need to really have that expression of your life looks like in alignment. But then at some points you really need to stop, go back into contemplation, look into your soul's design, look more deeper, look into your blueprints, uncover more, and then go and launch again. So as an entrepreneur, we're always constantly going to be doing that. And every level of what we're doing needs to be total alignment to our soul, for sure. So if you guys have any questions, totally ask me now. What you just like learned today, any takeaways, or doesn't even need to be about the subject too. I love just talking with you guys. So whatever you feel that you want to share, I would totally love that. And that's why I came up with so this is the other thing though. When you grow to the point where you need to be sure your messaging is right, which is where I'm at right now, then the next level is to go global with what you are really good at, right? And become internationally known for what you do. And that is a time when you need to be super visible. You need to be like totally out there, be unapologetic, being a leader in your industry, all of these kind of stuff. And I'm definitely at that level now. So this is why I decided, with the help of Lillian, to just get out there. Because getting out there to me is connection. I talk about authenticity and connection a lot. But what I kind of realized was that if I don't reach out to people, then how can they reach out to me, right? For the most part, in this journey, my beginning journey, the only reason I haven't really gone out there is because I was just really overwhelmed with too much volume of clients. But now that's kind of slowed down. I've got like some of the basic stuff set up for myself. Then the next level for me is to go global, to actually systemize all the good things that are working for me, and then go out and, global with my brand. Dee says, learn heaps. I'm getting to get clear on my message. Yes, you want to get clear on your message. Rebecca says, this is very deep and I love the way you explain everything and break it down. Your authenticity is so pure. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is how I talk. This is how deep I go into things. I really actually, when I think about all the things I want to do, I can't wait to when I get my own TV show, because then I can interview people, I can videotape how my life is like and because I don't live a normal life, I think. The way that I live, it's really, truly authentically to myself and my family, which would be so cool, you know, if people could actually see what that actually looks like. And of course, Hawaii is beautiful. But the only reason that I'm here in Hawaii is because my deep goddess, you know, my deep message comes back to my roots. And this is actually why I moved to the Big Island, because there's actually, you know, the 7 islands of Hawaii. Each of them actually are the different chakras. So we purposely picked the Big Island because I felt like I wasn't in touch with my root chakra, my first chakra. So like, I think, yeah, so the Big Island's like the root chakra, the first chakra. Maui is like the 4th chakra, I think, like the heart chakra, all the way up, right, to Kauai, which is like the crown chakra, the 7th chakra. And each island has a different kind of frequency. And when I first came here, I really felt like I needed that deep rooted connection, which I have. I really feel really connected now to my Hawaiian roots, because honestly, when I was with that spiritual group, I was actually trying to be a different Asian. That was not me. And actually, if you look at pictures of my face and stuff like that, during that time, I look really like that typical Asian guru. And that's not what my soul is. My soul is very much like a Hawaiian goddess, like Pele. So, Dee says you can start your own TV type show here on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, that's what I'm planning. It's just I have actually all of these going into my YouTube channel. So if you ever miss anything, go into my YouTube channel, look up my name. Yeah, I was like looking like this Asian guru, like it's not me. It's hard to imagine. But when I was watching and looking at myself, I was like, oh my God, like who was I? Who's this girl? Like who's this young girl? I look totally different. I really laugh at myself now when I think about it. But anyway, well, I love you all. I think I should end here. And tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, I hope tomorrow I'll come back again. I'm really just going with the fly, whatever I feel like. And I'm definitely trying to do it daily, or at least like, you know, 4 times a week. And so if you're just, you know, listening to me for the first time, make sure you push the subscribe button at the right corner. And then at the bottom, share, of course, whatever, you know, my posts would be so awesome. Join my Monetize Your Divine Gifts movement, which is my Facebook group, where you can connect with other highly conscious entrepreneurs just like me. I really connect with very high level people, actually. They tend to find me. And then, yeah, I'm launching my new like VIP day program that I'm actually going to be in LA and New York very soon. So I'll be announcing those things as soon as I figure out my sales page and stuff like that. So anyway, I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow or next time. Aloha.